trying not to spend too much money and too busy buying up,
Oh,
you
look
know,
what I got.
gifts. Now that looks
Came in the
cool.
mail.
So is this Bizarro Superman? Who is that?
No, you're just looking at the S backwards because of the camera. That's infected Superman.
Infected. So
Yes,
he
he's
drank some
good.
alcohol. Is that what it is?
Yeah, no, he's going undercover to infiltrate the Batman Who Laughs.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, is that part of the
And
is that the Dark Knight Metal or something like
yeah,
that? The Metal
yeah,
series?
part of that.
That
Yeah.
was such a great I don't know the series, but I just know they had a great soundtrack.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I just
uh
read the first series. It's pretty good.
nice. It reminds me, I wish they would release like a NECA figure of like not drunk Superman, but alcoholic Superman from Superman 3.
Superman 3.
He's just like dark. I mean, it's just like a dark overtone. The
With peanut
just mad.
thumping action.
Yeah, you got to have the peanuts.
Thoosh.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that would be cool.
yeah, or at least just a Christopher Reeve style Superman. That would just be really cool.
I thought,
But
didn't NECA release one? Or was
not
it?
to my knowledge. Maybe they did. If anything, I want to say I may have remembered maybe like a doll or something like that. He was like a bigger doll or something.
I think Mesco released one of their 1/12th. What is it called? 1/12th collective or something like that. Figures. It's like a action figure, but they cloth goods kind of on it too.
Right.
A Christopher
Right.
Reeve thing, and then
Right.
of
Well,
course
that would
Hot
look.
Toy.
Oh yeah, of course. I wish
Mm.
that's something I wish I could sink money into his Hot Toys. God,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
the dream hot toy is probably the Batmobile, like the Batman, maybe the Batman Returns Batman and the Batmobile that he can
Mm.
fit in. That would
Mm.
be, but
Yeah. Well, didn't they make one? Didn't they make the
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Batmobile?
Yeah, it was
And
like
it's probably like
thousands of dollars.
$2,000 now or something.
It's
Ridiculous. Yeah.
huge. It was
Yeah.
huge.
Oh, do you remember they made that Millennium Falcon cockpit too?
True. Wasn't they? I
Yeah.
thought they were going to eventually put out like a Hot Toys Millennium Falcon that would be like
Yeah. God, that'd take up your room.
like 20 foot long or something, you know?
Yeah. But they made the cockpit. I remember that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember that at one of the shows, and they had Han and Chewie in there and stuff. That would have been really cool.
Hmm.
But yeah. So what's new with you guys, huh? What kind of toys are we all getting besides
Well, you,
our Dark Knights and our Supermans?
I know you had something up there earlier that you were.
Oh, that was just a Christmas gift. I don't want to spoil anybody's Christmas yet, so I won't show it again or talk
Oh,
about
okay.
it in case
Okay.
they're tuning in.
Okay.
But yeah, I found a like a really cool cheap. It's like it's one of those things where like I'm horrible at gifts because whenever I'm thinking of Christmas gifts, like I want to find the perfect gift. I
Yeah.
can't stand to buy crap. I just can't stand to just buy something and be like, oh, here you go. I just want to, I want it to click and I want it to be like, man, they're gonna love that. And I just happened to walk across something tonight when I was going out to dinner. It was like, I mean, it was a decent, like really decent price, but really, really cool. So I'm like, all right, well, let me grab it. It's a perfect idea. So bing.
Where'd you find it?
We have a toy store downtown in Savannah called Planet Fun, and they're the best. They're the
Yeah.
best. You can
Must be
find all
nice.
this stuff.
Must be nice.
But
I just went to the toy store, you know.
well, it was kind of we weren't even gonna go. We were going out to dinner, and we happened to park on Broughton, and it's right there in front of Planet Fun, and they were open. So there was like, let's walk in and see what's in there real quick, see if anything new. And yeah, we went in there and they had a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I could have went broke in there, but obviously there's always something in there you could get and just lose all your money to. But I would love to just own something like that. I would just
Yeah.
love to run a store like that because they're the real deal for sure in town.
I remember I went there one time
Yep.
last time I came, and I
Yep.
bought a Men on Card Nikto from Return of the Jedi,
I did find this
a
for
vintage
myself.
one. It's
I
30
bought
bucks
her.
or something. Ooh, how long? Don't move. Oh, from
Dinosaurs.
yeah, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's
Like
mhm.
what's her name? There's Earl. Oh Lord. Yeah, this is the daughter. I just saw her sitting up there on the counter when I was checking out, and she didn't have a price on her or anything. I was like, whoa, how much is this? And they were like, $4. I'm like, all right, sold. Thank you. So she'll go with my. Well, the reason
I'll
I
give you
got her.
3.
Well, I mean, the reason I got her was because I have Earl.
Oh, cool.
And this was, yeah, because this was from when I was a kid. This isn't the toy I had when I was a kid, but I used to have this exact toy. Took it everywhere for a little bit. I just love the show, love this toy. And plus, I mean, if you can look the detail, I mean, this has got to be 91. This is early 90s, but I mean, you can look. I mean, the detail is amazing. It looks really. I mean, the shirt isn't. I mean, it's supposed to be a, you know,
Flannel.
flannel shirt, but I mean, that obviously doesn't look completely flannel, but everything else is super detailed. But anyway, I lost this years and years and years ago when I was a kid and had no idea what happened to it, and walked into the same store, and it was kind of a similar situation. It was just sitting up there with no price, and so the guy was like, 5. And I'm like, all right, that's worth $5. I'll get it.
Hmm. Anytime they do that, you ought to say, 3.
4? Yeah, I'll give you a 3.
Hmm. So Ray, what's up with you?
Yeah.
Not much. Trying to keep my internet connection. It's been really wonky. Like I've seen y'all go out a few times. That's why I've been a little silent.
Oh.
So I don't like mess up the conversation too much.
Oh, we got you. Any toys? Any games? Anything new in your life?
Like I said,
No.
are you talking
Yeah,
to
I'm
Ray?
I'm talking to Ray. I could ask you all day, and you'll just keep bringing stuff like, "Hey, look this what I got. I got
Let
this."
me go grab over here. No. Go ahead.
No,
We'll literally see a UPS guy knock on his upstairs door and be like, "Oh, here you go, bro."
Yeah, here
Like,
you go.
"Oh, thanks, guys."
Thanks, bro.
no,
But
not this week.
yeah. No, I haven't gotten anything either. The only, like I said, that was the only really thing I found was was her. Got her. I think that's pretty much. Well, I mean, I did get the and Ray. I'm not going to take it out of the glass case, but the Zeb figure, the Black Series Star Wars figure, we found that. Oh wait, maybe I brought that up last episode. I can't remember. Okay, so
Yeah.
so that's pretty much the newest thing I got was that stuff, because everything else is kind of like Christmas time, and I'm
Trying to save.
try not to spend money.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about this, because I saw your post about
that's
some Flash figures, and
Yeah,
this is
that's
the Injustice. Is this the
Yeah,
Injustice
Injustice
Flash?
2 Flash. It's
Nice.
1/18 scale, so it's like G.I. Joe figure size. You know,
Ah,
that's
small.
cool. That's
Like Star Wars figure size. You know.
it looks good. It looks
Yeah,
really good.
it is fantastic. It is an
Who
awesome
puts
piece.
that out?
Hiya Toys. Hiya. Hiya. Hiya.
Hiya.
Yeah.
Hi.
We all watch Heavyweights. We know.
Oh yeah.
Hiya.
Heck yeah.
So they specialize in like 1/18 scale figures, and they put out I guess they got a license for just the Injustice, video game. And
okay.
they also put out Aliens and Predator. Or is it Aliens? It might just be
Aliens
Predator.
versus Predator? Oh, okay.
No, it might just be Predator figures too. So
Nice. Like you mean like the original movie figures?
yeah.
So you could get like Arnold and
No,
Carl Weathers?
just the Predators.
Oh,
So
okay.
it may not be like the original Predator. It might be one of those other movies. Like maybe it could be just Predators. Isn't there a movie just Predators?
Yeah, it was Predators. It was
Yeah,
technically like a sequel to you could look at it as a sequel to the first one, because it was called Predators because there was more than one predator. So but it was a planet of predators. So they're on a jungle planet with them instead of being like a predator in a jungle with humans. So it was kind of flip flop. Yeah, it was I thought it was a good movie. Wasn't that Robert Rodriguez, right?
I don't think he didn't direct it, but he was a
it.
producer, and I think I think he might have had something to do with the story. But yeah, I think he was going to direct it at some point, and then he ended up stepping down and let somebody else take it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, I mean,
speaking
of Robert Rodriguez, I was gonna say that's a good segue into the 5-minute Mando.
5-minute Mando.
Starting whenever I set my timer now.
Go, Austin.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
So with this episode, basically, it's a continuation from the last episode. Ahsoka tells the Mandalorian to take Baby Yoda to Typhon, right?
Typhon, yeah.
Typhon or Typhon? Is it PH or TH? Okay. So yeah. So they go to the planet, take him to the stone, so he can call out to a Jedi to come pick him up and stuff like that. So you get all that, and then basically the Empire comes calling. They get which we knew. You saw the tracking device from the previous episode, so we knew that was bound to happen. So yeah, they get bum rushed and they take
You're
our
leaving
baby.
out a whole like plot line.
I'm
before
going
the
to.
character shows
I'm
up.
just trying to. I'm trying to get there. I'm just trying to like give the first 5 minutes. So I'm trying to like give a brief rundown. But in that episode, we have huge reveals. Who wants to take over? I feel like I don't want to just keep talking. Who
So
wants to keep going?
yeah, so while Baby Yoda was concentrating and singing or whatever he's doing, thinking, then you see Slave One flying across the screen. Oh my gosh!
Dude, I had a meltdown. I was like, oh my god, and it looked perfect. It looked perfect.
And that sound too. I mean the sound they took from Attack of the Clones, the Slave One vehicle sound. It's just oh my god! I started going crazy, and I mean I screamed out, "That's Boba Fett!" And every girls were like, "Huh? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?" You know.
Yeah, Candy was totally confused. I'm like, Slave One, Slave One. But no, man, seeing Boba. Well, yeah, go ahead, keep going.
No, and I was just gonna say, and he comes back to take his armor back from the Mandalorian, and I was surprised. I thought it was gonna be, like I'm gonna take it back, which he probably would have gotten to that point if it came to that. But I mean, I thought he's pretty nice about it.
Right. No, I mean, it wasn't like he was gonna kill. He wasn't trying to kill the guy. He was just like, look, you have what's mine. Give it to me. Like
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah. And then the Empire shows up, and that's when everything goes to crap, and they end up fighting fighting side by side, and then all the HasLab supporters went at one.
Man, the thing about it is, I like how they reference like everything that happened in this episode is almost like everything from the past 2 seasons build up to this moment.
Yeah.
That's what was so great about it, because you got all this payoff.
Mhm.
I mean, even to the point where oh Lord, Chun-Li, what's her name?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Ming-Hua, yeah.
Ming-Hua Nin, I think, or something like that, or
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
probably
I think so.
butchering her name, something like that, or Ming-Na Wen,
Yeah.
something like that. So
she's also the voice of Mulan.
Yeah, I love her. I just knew her as Chun-Li. Growing up, I'm like, that's my Chun-Li. Like I've always loved her in that role. But we knew that there was like they pretty much hinted that Boba Fett was the one that was
Someone was showing up, walking.
And
up
I
to
just
her,
I love the fact that we like, because I feel like they even tried to downplay that and basically say like, nah, it's not Boba Fett, or it's not gonna, but you might get a little like, nah, that was Boba Fett. So I'm super happy that they kind of went, yeah, it was Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And just him as a character, like Tamora Morrison, really just jumped right into the character. And not only that, man, they gave him some great action scenes. Just his fight sequence alone was just crazy good. So
I told Austin this. Like, I actually kind of liked his get up he had with the armor and the robe. I actually kind of like that more than the original like regular Boba Fett. I know that might be blasphemy to some people, but I liked it. It looked really cool. And
what's funny is he kind of, I know that Tamora Morrison's in shape. I know he's pretty slim. I mean, he's a built dude. There was some points where he kind of looked like he had a belly, and I'm just sitting there going like, look at Boba Fett with his belly.
He'd be like, Boba Fett.
He was just stacked. That's what it was. That's all he had to. He had to work out while he's in the Sarlacc. He had to just just had to pop and get swole.
The coolest thing about this whole thing was, this is the first time Tamara Morrison actually has gotten to really actually play him in live action. The original trilogy, they only redubbed his voice over. So
exactly.
And he was only Jango before in the clones. So this first time he actually got to be Boba, which is that was a big new thing that they've done.
Heck yeah, that was really cool. That was so good. That was like I can't gush enough over how like everything is working. Everything is falling into place for this show. So it can only. I just hope they keep it going.
Yeah, and we thought that was it for Boba, that first episode, and maybe a spin-off. But now it looks like maybe he's in for the long haul.
I hope so. I mean, that's just really cool if they can really start pulling a lot of these expanded universe characters to just kind of float on through every once in a while. I don't see anything wrong with that, man. It's like playing in an awesome sandbox. So I would love to continue that trend. I'm hoping that we'll see more like I wouldn't even. God, it would be so great if they like canonized Dash Rendar and brought him into the show in some
Don't put
form.
it past them.
That would blow my mind. I mean, like I'm talking about down to the ship. Like if they've got Dash Rendar with his robot on the Outrider, I am going to lose my mind.
Well, I'm pretty sure that there is a Dash Rendar character like that has been in canon, like at least in a reference book that's considered canon now. I think if you look him up, but there's no detail on him. Like I think it's something connected with Solo. Like I think something had to do with him. It has to do with the Kessel Run.
Gotcha.
But,
Okay.
But I think they're keeping it very vague with him so that
Yeah.
let somebody else bring him in.
Heck yeah, and they better do it. And we also, and I mean, this will be the last I say on the Mandalorian. I really do hope that they bring in Thrawn as a live action character. I just don't know if the voice actor would work as like visually as him.
I think Thrawn's going to be somewhere else, which we'll
Yes,
talk about later.
Thrawn will be somewhere else that we'll talk about later. Yeah,
I think so.
So, what is that?
It's the people's elbow. Just had to give that to
I
y'all.
was going to say, is that The Rock? Are you supposed to be
you big
Johnson?
jabroni? Rock.
Am I supposed to smell what you're cooking?
Supposed to.
Wow.
Eggs and bacon.
So is that the 5-minute rat? Is that the 5-minute mark?
Yeah. We passed that about 30 seconds ago.
Okay. So, all right. So there's some other big news today, though. Like huge.
Yeah, I mean,
huge.
I wasn't prepared for it.
Were you
sort of? I mean, I knew it was coming. I just wasn't prepared for them to just dump everything the way they did. Yeah. When I got off work, I'm like, what? A what? A what? Like all these bits of information. I'm talking about everything they were dropping. And then Ray was sending me stuff that I didn't know about either. Yeah. I'm like, good God. I mean, it was a treasure trove today for sure.
I think Disney Plus. My opinion is I think they were scared after Rise of Skywalker, but they were also I think they were a little hopeful with Mandalorian, and I think with how positive the reception has been since the start, I think they were just let's do this. We're gonna go all in with all these ideas that I think that they've gotten a lot of their confidence back in the Star Wars franchise.
I think there's that. I think they have their confidence back, and I think they finally cracked the code. I really do. I think the Mandalorian helped them crack the code, not just in terms of a story or fan service or whatever. I'm just saying technologically speaking. Yeah, technologically speaking, I think they've hit the jackpot in terms of they've figured out how to do these things, these shows and all that with a smaller budget, smaller scale, but still make it cinematic and make it like you're watching a movie. I'm so happy that they finally got the technology to do that, because before that was always the big thing with George Lucas was that you can't hardly afford to make a live action Star Wars movie because it's just a lot of special effects. But now they're doing it with LED screens and things like that. I mean, it's perfect. So now I think, and now that you have on top of that the fact that they see that if you just do what Star Wars fans are asking about, like it's such an easy ask. It's like you play in that sandbox. Like don't try to overcomplicate it. No, I mean, like just play in the sandbox and develop stories that's already here in this universe. You don't have to, because that's just I felt like in the sequel trilogies sometimes it just you're trying to add more than you're actually trying to play in the box. So I'm glad that we're finally starting to get a lot more material where they're just going to go, yeah, let's do it. Like the Cassian Andor show, it looked great. They're already, I mean, Jesus, at the time they put into it, like you can see in the sizzle reel, all the stuff that they're working on. It's a movie. It's crazy. I did not even know that they were already that far into that show. And now we've got the Bad Batch, which I had heard about that, and that's pretty much, I guess, it's basically like the sequel series to the Clone Wars, correct?
Yeah. So why don't we just go through it just kind of one or two sentence thoughts, just so we can make sure we hit them all.
Sure.
Okay. So Cassian Andor, been filming for 2 weeks. We saw footage.
And this is supposed to be what, like roughly like 5 years before Rogue One or something like that, or not, or at least just a couple of years before Rogue One.
Yeah, it's at some point because he's dead.
Yeah.
So it's just at some point before. But But no, I'm with you. When I saw when they were showing that behind the scenes stuff, man, it's like, I mean, the same people that work on the movies are working on the show.
Yeah, Neil Scanlon. When I saw him pop up, I'm
Yeah.
like, Neil? I'm like, Neil's doing this? Holy
Yeah.
crap, that's awesome. Like, I mean, that dude's great. So
I mean, it looked like behind the scenes of a Star Wars movie.
straight up,
Yeah,
straight
and I
up.
was like, wow. I mean, they're really putting it. And when you look at some of these trailers today that we're talking about, if we can't show them on here, but they're all cinematic. I mean, it looks like you're seeing something that should be on a theater screen and not on,
No, for
ABC
sure.
or whatever.
Oh no, for
Um,
sure. It blows my mind the stuff that we can do on television now. It's I love it. I'm glad that the television medium is caught up to movies because
yeah,
because before you could you obviously those were two worlds. You had a movie and then when you had a TV movie, it was a TV movie and you could tell
yeah.
it. I just love that now that
Ewoks.
you can't. Yeah. Well, even the Ewoks, though, if you really go back and watch those were pretty well made movies. They don't necessarily look like TV movies. They kind of.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes.
No, I got you for sure. No, but yeah, I thought that like the Cassian Andor series, just it looks like it's going to be great. I'm
Mhm.
assuming we're going to get that feeling of just the like building the rebellion, like I guess just trying to get that spark going. I guess is what they're
Yeah, it
aiming
sounds
for
like
with
it.
that series.
More
So
like a
that'd be cool.
spy series too.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, then they rolled into Obi-Wan, and I did anybody see the footage?
I haven't seen
They showed
anything from Obi-Wan yet for Kenobi or
because
whatever.
they kind of blacked out when they showed behind the
Oh, that
scenes.
must have been an exclusive one that only the
Yeah,
investors could see.
yeah. So
Probably too
they
much,
went
probably
behind the.
not enough. They probably haven't progressed. I mean, it hasn't even started shooting yet, so they probably haven't even progressed far enough to show anything to us. It's probably so rough that they're just showing it to the investors to make sure their money's going towards something good.
Yeah, and Hayden Christensen returning as Darth Vader for a big showdown with Obi-Wan.
See, I'm confused by that. I wonder
Well,
how
if
they're
you go
gonna
back,
play
if you
that
go back
off.
to A New Hope, when they finally square off, he's like, what was
When
the
I was with
line?
you, I was but the learner, but now I'm the master.
No, the last time. No, he says the last time I was but the learner. I think he says the last time.
Well, he was like the last time we faced, I was but the learner. Now I'm the master. So I mean, normally I guess the fans like myself, I would think he's referring to their fight on
And
Mustafar, but
Revenge of the
it
Sith,
could
but
be
maybe
right. But yeah, they could have tangled again. Maybe he kind of I don't know. I don't know how they're going to play that. I'm in.
yeah,
I'm
me
happy
too,
for it.
me too. Yeah,
So
I'm in.
so let's go for it.
I'm in. Thoughts, Ray? Anything?
Uh, for Obi-Wan
Yeah,
or
just yeah.
oh yeah,
Any,
I'm all in for an Obi-Wan. I mean Andor. I've already told I think I've spoke with Austin about this. I guess I'm kind of on the fence, but I mean, if they want to make it, that's great. It might have some new stuff avenues, but I don't feel too invested at the moment in Cassian himself because I mean. I got enough of his character with Rogue One. He was someone who was already. I mean, he was already. He was someone who did the dirty work, and
yeah,
he had
He's just
his
a rebel soldier.
kind
Yeah,
of he kind of got his soul.
exactly. Uh-oh, we
I
lost him.
understand you.
But yeah,
Back on I guess with the with the mission by the end of it, even though it cost him
right.
it. I but I mean I'm interested in seeing what else they could add.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean that's my thing. I would say with
Can you hear
the
me?
Cassian Andor, yeah, I can hear you. The thing with the Cassian Andor series is it's like I'm cautiously optimistic. It's like I'm happy that they're doing it because number one, I thought that show was probably going to eventually just drop off, like they weren't going to actually go forward with it. So the fact that they're really going into it must mean they have something going on. Like they must have. I feel like they must have some magic there. They're like, all right, this could work. So I'm interested, and plus I just want to see a live action um, development of like the rebellion, like just kind of seeing what they're going through, you know, on the front lines and in the dirtiness of it,
Yeah.
but seeing it in live action, that's really cool because Rebels really gave us that in animated form, and It was just pure perfection. So to see this in live action, that's the only, I think that's the biggest draw. Out of all of them, I would say the Cassian show is probably maybe my least anticipated. I mean, like I want to see it. It's gonna be great, but yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, the Bad Batch looked good, but I'm trying to understand what. I guess I just haven't looked it up. What is the Bad Batch supposed to be?
It looks like it's gonna be probably right at the end of the Clone Wars and after. That's what it looked like to me so far.
Right,
Like
right.
it's
It
gonna
looks like it's
it's gonna at
definitely
least start out right at the end, and then I bet what's gonna happen is Order 66 is gonna go, and I don't think they're gonna. I think that was something they were something was messed up with them, so I don't think their inhibitor chips probably won't work.
Gotcha. So they're the Bad Batch.
And-
Okay, that makes sense then. I was wondering about that. So because I was kind of confused seeing the sizzle reel. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Are they like a group of good clones that didn't participate in Order 66? So the rest of the clones are coming, or the rest of them are coming after them?
Well, these are
Interesting concept.
this is the group that you remember. It was the last season of the Clone Wars.
Oh, the Clone Wars. Yeah.
Yeah,
that arc
that
in
they
the beginning.
appeared in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess I just didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I just didn't catch it all. And plus, I need to go back and watch the final season again.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch the season before the lost episodes or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that's just been a big mission of mine, anyways, is to go back and rewatch the Clone Wars again and do it chronologically. Which is it's
Good
fun,
luck.
but at the same time, yeah, it's fun, but it's so weird that they don't just after the fact just go back and just correct that order. I don't understand that.
But you have to go find you a watch order and
Well,
watch.
I've already got. Yeah, no, I've got that. I'm just saying, I'm
Yeah.
surprised that Disney and that group hasn't gone like, okay, that's confusing. Instead of us putting out here's a
Yeah.
guide, why don't you just correct it? Because it's not
Yeah.
like people are going to go like, what have you done? I mean, like they're just out of sync. Like just put the episodes in
Yeah.
order and then we're fine. I don't know. Anyway,
Mhm.
probably
So
credits or something. I don't know.
yeah. So the next one was Ahsoka. There is going to be a live action Ahsoka series.
They knew that was going to happen. That was probably just what I mean. They just had that deal waiting because they just wanted to see. They just wanted to see. Let's see that reaction. Like, is it going to be huge, or is it going to be huge?
Yeah.
And it was huge. And so, like, I knew they were going to do a show. I knew it.
So
can't.
this is-
and
yeah,
she was perfection.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to see Thrawn again. This is
Yeah.
where, and Ezra. I think Ezra's going to make his live action debut. As
That's
well.
probably why she brought that up. It's probably kind of a tie-in to that show. They're probably like, all right, well, we'll solve that.
That's gonna be.
But then again,
I bet this is gonna be more of that Rebels sequel. Yeah.
And we're gonna, and I guarantee we're going to see a live action. The green skinned
Hera or
Hera. Yeah.
yeah, Hera
Syndulla.
from Rebels. Yeah. See, and that's another thing. I think the voice actress probably playing her would work.
Yeah, she would.
Just like the original voice of Ahsoka. I'm just blanking on her name at the moment.
Ashley Eckstein.
Ashley Epstein. Yeah, she would have been great. But man, let me tell you, Rosario Dawson nailed it. I mean, she embodied that character. Like she just took it all in everything. So I could definitely see the other actress playing Hera. And I would love to just see that in live action. Just like I would just love to see, I mean, really, in live action, I would just love to see Hera run up into the Ghost, take off. I would love to just see a live action fight in the Ghost. I love that ship. I love it.
It would be cool to see Hera again and see like if there's any progression on the kid, Jason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'd be cool too.
Kid,
Yeah, for sure.
Hera and Kanan's son. That'd be interesting.
And does he have any Jedi powers?
Yeah, because he'd probably be around 10 or so. Like, because it's going to take place, I imagine, after, the events of the Mandalorian.
Yeah. So I mean, probably within he'd be within 10 years probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming he's actually older he would be older than Kylo.
Didn't Dave Filoni come out like not too long ago and say that the end of Rebels, that scene where you see Jason, takes place
actually
before this episode, that episode of The Mandalorian? Or I could be misremembering.
Oh, it's interesting. I know that there was, like in Rebels at the end, there's a time jump. And they're saying that I don't know if this is official, but from what I understood was where we see Ahsoka in The Mandalorian is not like The last scene in Rebels takes place after that. So, you know, time wise, yeah, it's that
Hey,
So the
makes
kid will
sense.
be the same age, like right there that we saw him at the end of Rebels. He'll
Yeah.
roughly be the same age as he was right there. So he's still a little kid.
Yeah, no, he's
Maybe.
little kid, and like I said, I think he was technically born. Yeah, he was born like 5 years before Kylo then, so or something like that. I know he was.
He was
I know
born
it's.
before A New Hope. Well, he was probably born
That's what I'm
right
saying.
after A New Hope.
Because technically, and that's where they throw me off a little bit. I wish they had pushed that out a little bit. But Kylo was born like right after Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So in the movies, he's already in his 30s, early, like 30, 31, 32,
Yeah.
something like that, 33. So I guess that makes sense. But at the same time, they were trying to push that whole thing of him being a little bit younger. So you would think, okay, well, he's 20. So why don't they just have him 10 years after Return of the Jedi? But I don't know. They just like, nah, let's jump right in. He's born during the Battle of Jakku. Boom. Like, okay, whatever.
And next they have Rangers of the New Republic.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Now
So-
I'm curious about what that's going to be about. That
Yeah,
sounds.
See, that was the other end of the spectrum. Like, I'm more excited for that than I am the Cassian show, but I feel like they're going to kind of go hand in hand where Cassian kind of builds up the rebellion side of it. And then you've got this side of it where you're seeing how these people are having to function as the New Republic. Because we kind of see that in Mandalorian. And that's one thing I like is when you see some of these rebel soldiers that are all of a sudden having to become like officers and sheriffs and all that kind of stuff, and they're having to just monitor and take care of areas and things like that, and bring law to places. I mean, it's really neat seeing that. So I'm hoping that show that's what it's going to do, is it's really going to go into that aspect of it. Like,
and
because Mon Mothma basically, I think the conflict to it is that Mon Mothma sets it up so that they get rid of their military. Like, the whole plan was after a certain point they want to stand down military, kind of bringing it back to the Republic days before Palpatine.
yeah.
And so I wonder if that's going to kind of tie into the show at all, like where they fight about that and stuff. Like,
They could.
we can't leave ourselves undefended. What if we have another emperor? Like, oh, we killed the emperor, and then boom, 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 episode 7. Something like that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, though, I hate on the sequel trilogy right now, but and it and they're not very good films to me. But I bet you over time, Lucasfilm is going to do a good job of filling in,
Oh, for sure.
filling in until one day you go back and watch the sequel trilogy and you're like, oh, these are really good films now.
Well, it's just like the prequels. People hated the prequels,
Yeah.
and now if you look at it, the prequels are now starting to become respected.
Yeah.
They just are. They just like the elements of them because they've gone in and started to make certain things in the prequels more important. And the fact that like Dave Filoni even just explaining in the Mandalorian, like in the behind the scenes on the Mandalorian, so there's a lot of people watching that. So watching him explain the significance of the final fight of Episode 1, I feel like would really bring in people to just rethink how they're perceiving that prequel trilogy and kind of give it a fresh outlook, fresh
what I'm
take.
saying is like they're gonna do enough where they can build up why the Emperor came back, and they're gonna show you in TV and shows and series and possibly movies, and it's gonna fill in the little gaps, and then you're gonna be like, this is Star Wars, where it just seems sort of disconnected,
Right.
right now.
Right. And in my complaints, I don't want to turn this into let's talk about the sequel trilogy for an hour. But the only thing I'll say about the sequel trilogy, since you brought it up, is that I don't think they're terrible movies. I think the final movie was the weakest one of all of them. Yeah. And it's not even the story. It's not even that the story was weak. I enjoyed the story. There were just a lot of just obvious missteps that J.J. Abrams took in that last movie that didn't make sense to me. It just didn't because even with his other movies where people have said, oh, they're horrible, there's usually, like, for anything else you could say, well, but his beats are great. When I say beats, like the rhythm of the movie, his beats, the action is always good. He always has great set pieces. And with this, the final movie is what ruined everything for me, was that he had all these pieces that he was playing with, but it was almost like he would ignore something else. It's like we're focusing on the fact, like for example, we're focusing on the fact we're going to Exegol and we're going to have this big battle. We're going to have thousands of Star Destroyers, but you can't see any of it. And not only that, they don't even let you see any of it. They don't care if you see any of it. You don't. It's not important that you focus on anybody. It was kind of like the feeling you get when you watch the battle at the beginning of Episode 3. It's like you're following Obi-Wan and Anakin. That's what's important. You don't care about the rest of the battle around you, even though there's probably some awesome moments happening. It's all about their story, so you follow them. But with Rise of Skywalker, it was just kind of like all these pieces that were thrown together. But when you actually stop and go, okay, well, have we had like a true battle? Have we had a true dogfight? Have we had a true lightsaber fight? A lot of that stuff felt like it got lost. Like it didn't have that umph that the other movies would have. Regardless of the story, if the story was horrible, like, that's just how I felt about it. It was a lot of just obvious, like almost like he didn't direct that movie. And it wouldn't surprise me if we come out and we find out, yeah, he didn't even direct. He hardly directed the movie. But
I just thought it moved too fast.
Very.
And there's not enough explanation in between.
Right. The book's great. If you read the book fills in a lot of stuff, and yeah, it's real fun, and like I enjoyed it, but it's just like I said, the movie, something fell flat with that final one in terms of just the actual element, like the elements in the movie. The story was fine. The story didn't hurt me. It was just the menial things.
Another surprise coming from Lucasfilm is a show based on Lando Calrissian. Whoop whoop! And it doesn't say who will be playing Lando. It just says from creator Justin Simeon. So
I bet you it's not going to be Danny Glover.
I hope it's not.
You know why? Because he's very old. No, I
hope it's not Danny Glover.
I always get the two names mixed up. Donald's the one I'm talking about. Because I think he's just, I don't know if he's interested in doing it anymore. I bet he probably will drop out and won't do it. But he was so good.
Yeah, I hope he does. I hope they're just negotiating contracts right now.
I've heard some people speculate that it might be a dual timeline thing. So, you might have some portions, kind of like the Indiana Jones TV series. Okay. Like every now and then you saw, I think there was one, there's one story where Harrison Ford actually, came back and did an older Indy. For his like a blues episode.
Yep. I remember him sitting in the chair. I think he had like a harmonica and stuff, and it was like old Indy.
He had a saxophone. He
was it a saxophone?
He defeated some bad guys at the end of the story by playing his saxophone.
Oh, saxophones. I thought I remembered it being a harmonica in a chair, and you see him. Okay.
He defeated them because there was a lot of snow on the roof. Played the saxophone and caused the vibrations caused the snow to collapse on them as they were leaving the cabin.
Oh God. No, this is what they were to do with the Lando show. They ordered it should be straight up like The Irishman. They just use that technology, get Billy Dee back in it, and like all of his older Lando, or like the post Return of the Jedi Lando scenes or whatever. Yeah. He's just got all the digital stuff going on, so he looks like old Billy Dee. And then they give you stunt doubles when he's got to run around and do stuff, and then they cut to his younger. Listen, it worked for The Irishman. I think it could work for that show.
Yeah, did it work for The Irishman? Because there are those old man steps. There's the old man runs, those old man punches.
Hey, this ain't the time for it, but I'll fight you on that movie. That movie is pure perfection. So.
Oh my God.
But anyways.
Moving on.
I'm excited. The one I'm most curious about actually is the Acolyte. That one sounds very cool because that's going somewhere they have not touched yet in live action, and that's a whole new era. That that's supposed to be the High Republic. So that should be really
Have they started rolling that out yet? I know there was some novels.
The books start. Well, they start at the beginning of the year. They'll start, I think, in January, and then because it was supposed to be this past January, or was it January or was it?
It was
like March.
I think it was around. I think it was like spring or summer.
Yeah, it was right. It was supposed to drop right at the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic thing. I mean, it was just like right. There was it was perfect time or poor timing, but it was like, okay, we're gonna postpone this and we're gonna do it next year. And so that's pretty much what the plan is. So, I don't know why they didn't just push it back a couple of months and just start doing it, because we could have been. I just feel like unless they have some certain types of plans, I don't understand why they had to push it back that far. Because number one, I know it's a multimedia kind of project, but especially during the pandemic, if it was like, if it's
Books.
games, I just feel like that would have been perfect opportunity. Like, oh, you guys are all stuck at home now, so here, just enjoy this and let's start building this world up. But I guess they must have bigger plans for it. So
It could have also been contract issues, like maybe a lot of bookstores were scared of not getting any books sold, and maybe they decided that we're just going to hold off, so
Or
they'll be able to sell more physical copies.
From a marketing standpoint too, I mean, I bet you they might want to have authors in bookstores, signings, a big rollout for the initial push.
Yeah.
Two other little, I guess, TV shows: Star Wars Visions and Star Wars: A Droid Story. It looks like Star Wars: A Droid Story is basically just a little one shot from Disney Plus that features R2 and C3PO guiding some new hero cartoon version. And then Star Wars Visions is the one I'm more interested in, which is an anthology collection that will bring like 10 fantastic visions from several of the leading Japanese anime studios.
So it sounds like it's a Star Wars version of the Animatrix.
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
Which sounds great.
Yeah, and that's the one I'm looking to more so than A Droid Story. And then 2 movies. We knew the one from Taika Waititi, which they didn't reveal much of. Just, hey, we're still doing this. It's gonna be fresh and new,
Right.
And then they dropped the bomb, Rogue Squadron from Wonder Woman's Patty Jenkins, December 2023.
Ooh, I didn't realize it was 2023 is the date, huh?
Yep.
That's gonna
That'll be the next Star Wars movie in theaters.
It's gonna be Rogue Squadron.
Yep.
When's Taika's movie gonna come out?
It must be after that.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna be. I love Patty. I love her. So, Jesus.
And it sounds like it takes place after the Rise of Skywalker. Is that what you took from it, Austin, or did?
I have no idea. I didn't see that press release.
Oh. So you didn't know anything about the movie?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
No, I'm serious.
Well,
that's one I didn't know about.
Drop that on you.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought that I heard when I was watching the show. I mean the what do you call it? The Disney thing, that it was gonna be set after, or set in the New Republic. Well, I guess if it was set in the New Republic, it could be before, unless you're talking about the New Republic, which comes into place after we finally kill Palpatine for the second time, and then it's the New Republic.
The new.
I really do. I really hope though that it's a. I don't know. Part of me is like, I hope it's like right after Return of the Jedi. I really do. I don't know if I want to see a Rogue Squadron series that's like sequel trilogy era, like with the First Order and stuff. I don't know why, but I just feel like I would prefer to see like the novels, like the old novels. Yeah. You want to see them mopping up the remnants of the Empire. So I would probably love to see them doing that, like kind of in a Rogue Squadron movie that takes place probably while the Mandalorian and stuff's happening.
Well, here's the little blurb they say. It says the story wanted to introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives in a boundary-pushing, high-speed thrill ride and move the saga into the future era of the galaxy.
Oh, well, then I guess they are doing a future version of Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, so I guess that's what I thought when when they
I'm still good. I'm for it.
After Rise of Skywalker, I mean.
As long as it has some awesome dogfights, that'll be great.
Right. I mean, as long as it's like watching Top Gun, but Star Wars, I'm set. I'm totally sold.
And as long as there's like toward the end, you have that moment where they're having to escape a fiery explosion. I'm
right.
That's always like
out of a tight space. They always say they're coming out of something, so it's like it's either a tunnel or something. We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, as formulaic and cliche as it becomes, it's still fun to watch. Like Return of the Jedi, or even like, I mean, have both of you finished the Squadron storyline from Star Wars Squadron? that ending, where you get to do it yourself. You actually get to race away from a explosion that's basically trying to chase you down. It's thrilling. Like it's just
Thanks for
something
ruining
I
it.
expect. Yeah, I love it. It feels like
I
it
don't
needs
even
to
have
be
the
there.
game, so
Yeah,
I watched all the cutscenes on YouTube.
you
Jeez,
get
that's sad.
I can't pay for the game. I have to watch it on YouTube.
Well,
Get some more porridge. Yeah.
next time I see you, I'll let you borrow it so you can play it. How about that?
Yeah.
'Cause you've got to play it. It's good. But no, that'll be fun. I'll be into it as long as they, like you said, as long as it's got the beats and it's got the dog fights and the battles. We got to fight a space station. They got to fight another space station. That's all I want. The dark saber.
One thing they could do that they haven't done though in terms of Star Wars is actually have some villains in, whatever the villain, probably TIE Fighter or whatever the new analog would be. If they have some characters that are on that side that are just as good, if not, better, that'd be pretty cool. Because usually, TIE Fighters are just kind of good guy fodder a lot. You rarely, the only exception would be Darth Vader in the movies. He had his special one, but other than that, it'd be something new, to see that, there are these pilots that are just as good. We saw that even in, the Squadrons game that, because we got to play as some of them that could be just as
Right.
good. So
And
that'd be a cool new change, for the movies.
Right, and they could probably take some of the like I guess at least ideas and inspiration from like the Alphabet Squadron series. I haven't gotten to the second book yet because when I got it earlier this year, I just hadn't got around to reading it, and so I've started over reading the first one and reading that first one again. It's like you just in terms of like the action, it's exactly like what we were talking about. We would want to see it in like a Rogue Squadron movie, and then you turn around and have like the focus. I mean, even though in these books they mainly focus on the New Republic, there was a comic series called TIE Fighter that followed along kind of with it, or it was almost a backstory to it. So you got to really see the TIE Fighter side of it and see like some really good pilots on that side, and just kind of see how they operate. I mean, yeah, they're bad guys, but at the same time, they're also pretty damn good because they're TIE Fighter pilots, because TIE Fighters don't have the kind of protections that an X-wing or
you're flying a piece of tinder in space.
Yeah.
pretty much with these big solar panels or something on the side. So it's not even aerodynamic at all. It just looks really cool. It looks like a really fun thing to shoot at. But it's just kind of like, yeah, you're just in this piece, this death box that you're probably gonna die when you go out there.
Yeah.
But they, if you're good, and that's the thing is, if you're good, you go home. They and that's kind of what their focus is that these people that come back is because they're really good.
I mean, that was a cool point of, I think they did it in the other ones too, but in Squadrons, the cool point was, anytime you were in a TIE Fighter, all versions of them, they were, the shields were much weaker, but the maneuverability was off the charts. Like you could
Way better
turn on a dime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you it's almost like the A-wing. You sacrifice a lot of your protection, but you have so much speed. So if you're good, if you can handle that, you might be able to outfly the X-wing guys or the B-wings with their in crazy armor that they have.
For sure. No, I'm excited. I mean, I don't care. I don't care what era it's in. Pilots, ships, dogfights. I mean, we better I'll tell you this much. Whatever we get with Rogue Squadron, if as long as it touches on sort of like how the feeling you got with being a Rogue One when you had that space battle, that was phenomenal. Yeah. That is what Star Wars is. At the end of the day, the end of Rogue One is Star Wars. Like that read, like when I watched that, it's like reading an old expanded universe, but it was like reading a Rogue Squadron novel. It was pure perfection. So if they can go in that feel, they've got it. They've got it hands down. And we also didn't bring up, I was going to say before we wrap up, we didn't mention Willow. And I'm super excited about that. Like that, oh my God, that's probably my most anticipated project besides all the Star Wars stuff. It might even be up there a little bit past Star Wars because it's just, I want it so bad. I just want something from Willow.
And the announcement of Indiana Jones is pretty crazy.
Indiana Jones, yeah.
That they're officially moving forward. I think in the spring of next year, they're going to start filming, which is pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, and Zac Efron on a remake of 3 Men and a Baby.
Excuse me?
Yes, that's real
Really?
news.
And
Yeah.
it's just Zac Efron. It's just
Well, I don't know who else is in it, but he's in it. He's part of it.
oh wow! I just had a great idea. A 3 Men and a Baby remake, and he plays all
And
the
he plays
dudes.
all three.
He plays all three. He plays Tom Selleck. He plays Ted Danson and the Goot. That would be perfect. Oh crap! We actually just watched that movie not too terribly long ago, and it's Leonard Nimoy that directed that, but that movie is good, but it's cringy in some parts, like in terms of the humor and
I mean,
stuff.
the fact that they have to get well, the fact that they like it's supposed to be, it's a comedy story, and then all of a sudden, you had this ending where you got it. From what I remember, it felt like it got pretty serious with the guys with the guns at the end. Like you got these guys that are just normal, normal New York guys, and they're just like, oh, these guys got guns, we're gonna take them on.
It just came in my head. This is exactly what 3 Men and a Baby are. Think of everything you know about the term yacht rock. Now make a movie out of that.
Yeah.
This inspired just by the feeling of yacht rock. You have 3 Men and a Baby. Because those guys live in a world that we have no concept of. I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, where are you living? What do you do? This is insane. Like nobody lives like this. This is a whole new world. This is rich white people world that nobody else experiences. And they only experienced that probably in the 70s and 80s. So,
right.
But anyways.
I know it's getting close, but I want to cover a few things too, right quick.
Sure. Go ahead.
So we got 4 trailers from the Marvel reveals, right? We got a new trailer for WandaVision, which looks to be really cool.
Oh yeah, I think that's going to be great.
The first trailer for The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which when I say cinematic looking, it looks like you're looking at a movie and not a TV show.
Yeah, it reminded me of footage from the Winter Soldier movie. Like it reminded me of that.
Like when the Falcon jumps out of that plane and starts flying through that canyon, man. I mean, that didn't look like TV stuff. That looked like movie stuff.
Jesus.
Trailer for Loki, which looked really cool, and Owen Wilson looked awesome. I like Owen Wilson.
I haven't watched that one yet.
Okay.
So Owen Wilson's
I'm not
gonna be
spoil it.
Yeah, wow.
Not gonna spoil it. Yeah, Owen Wilson's in it.
Wow.
We got a trailer for What If, which basically is a cartoon, but it takes
what if stories from
it's like the old comics.
I thought it was like a play on the Creed song. I thought it was just like a movie inspired by that song by Creed.
No. Then we got a sizzle
reel.
It was in
Scream 3, people. I'm not being that obscure, dadgummit.
Yeah. We got a sizzle reel for Ms. Marvel, which gives us a little bit of footage from that, but they've just recently started filming that.
And that's going to be a more kids-oriented show, right?
No,
no,
not really. I mean, it takes place in the MCU. It was revealed that she's also going to be in Captain Marvel too, which is going to be, pretty cool.
Oh, so okay, Miss Marvel. So this is going to be the Kamala Khan character.
Kamala Khan, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So then, let's see what else. They said they've wrapped on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So that, looking for that. Then Black Widow.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I was hoping we were going to get Black Widow on Disney Plus, but it's not looking like it. They're
I was talking about the Shang-Chi. Yeah, the Shang-Chi looks good, but and Black Widow looks great too. I wish they'd put out Black Widow, man. I feel so bad. I feel bad for Scarlett.
Yeah, they're sticking to that May 7th release. They're saying May 7th.
Next May. May.
Yeah, next May. And then they moved it back to November. So November 21st, which both of those are supposed to come out this year, but they moved them back. And then of course they revealed, Haley Steinfeld was playing Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series, which is pretty cool. She-Hulk comedy series coming to Disney Plus, which is going to be cool. It's going to have Mark Ruffalo in it, and they teased a bunch of other, MCU characters probably.
But it's a comedy series?
Cameoing, because Jennifer Walters is a lawyer, and it's sort of like Sex and the City, maybe without the sex, but like a comedy, kind of show like that. Moon Knight, who's played by Dameron.
Oh yeah,
Oscar Isaac.
Who's also going to be Solid Snake.
Yeah, he is.
He's just like
everywhere.
Getting all those like starring roles, man. That's
then they come out with stuff like Secret Invasion, Disney Plus series with Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh,
So this is
they're doing that. Okay, cool.
yeah, they're doing that, and they said it's gonna start off on Disney Plus, and then you're gonna feel the ramification throughout other movies and everything.
So I guess that's what the whole ending of Far From Home was about, right? Like the whole little secret ending they had in Spider-Man Far From Home, or the
Could
post
be.
credits ending.
Yeah, could be. And they just barely mentioned Spider-Man 3, but they're saying
Because the
WandaVision.
lid's already blowing off on that one.
Yeah.
They're
Well, I
probably
mean,
trying to like.
It's a Sony movie, so really Disney can't.
That's like the child that's like
It's their
just a
Disney's not
child.
involved in it though.
Uh,
Well, Kevin Feige is the executive producer, so and they probably have story in, like they direct the story what the way they want it to go, but it's really a Sony movie. It's distributed under
See,
Sony.
just think
Okay.
about it
Do all
this
the
way.
marketing.
It's the stepchild that does really well, and he's getting trophies and stuff. But no matter what, the parent doesn't want to acknowledge him.
Yeah,
It's like
pretty
that.
much. Ironheart series starring Riri Williams. So apparently she's going to be the new Iron Man, really. And then Armor Wars, which I wish they would have done with Tony Stark still around, but this is going to have Don Cheadle in it. So basically, nefarious people start getting a hold of Tony Stark's tech, like his Iron Man, components and things. And, Don Cheadle has to go out and put the kibosh on those plans. There's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. They're gonna film it at the same time they're filming Guardians of the Galaxy 3. James Gunn's gonna do it,
Okay.
and it's gonna come out the Christmas before Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out.
I was gonna say, as long as he's doing it, I was in my head thinking it's probably gonna be great because he's
Oh yeah,
James Gunn. So
Christian Bale is the bad guy, plays Gore the God Butcher in Thor: Love and Thunder. So
Okay.
that'll be pretty
Interesting,
cool. Yep. Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly are going to come back for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Ooh,
And
that sounds
Kang
fun.
the Conqueror is going to be the bad guy, which is going to be,
Ooh,
who knows.
Kang. Ooh,
Yep.
That's cool.
Black Panther 2 still on the docket, scheduled for July release 2022, and they're not going to recast Chadwick Boseman, so apparently Shuri will, somebody will take up the Black Panther title.
So then, damn, that's gonna be. I wonder how they're gonna play that with the story because they just bring him back to life at the end of Endgame, and then he's gonna.
And that's it. Yep.
Be,
And then the last big reveal was Fantastic Four from John Watts, who's done the first two Spider-Man. The Spider-Man.
So now he's getting a stab at it, huh?
He must be a really good yes man because I think he's the only director I can think of who's gotten that many consecutive Marvel movies. Well, he must do whatever Feige tells him.
Well, probably, and he probably is a good guy to work for. Work with. He's probably a really laid back. Just from what I've seen of him, he seems like a pretty cool dude to work with.
Yeah.
There's also weird mandates when it comes to Marvel movies because I've heard some directors who've turned down Marvel projects specifically for one reason is they're not in control of directing any action sequences. Like
Patty Jenkins.
Yeah,
she was supposed to do Thor: The Dark World, I believe, and she turned it down.
I think there was somebody else who said something similar. Recently.
What's the guy?
Peyton Reed, I think.
No,
or Edgar
Wright.
He
stayed on it.
Edgar Wright, you mean?
Yeah, Edgar Wright left Ant-Man.
Yeah,
and then the dude who was working on the new Doctor Strange movie left.
Yeah,
because now Sam Raimi's doing it.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing. Like I can understand it in one aspect, but because some directors just they can be really bad when it comes to action compared with drama. But when you got ones that can do them pretty creatively, you should kind of let them just go all out with it.
Yeah. I was thinking more of it's probably just this big, huge puzzle.
Yeah.
And Kevin Feige has to be the guy who rules the roost to coordinate all that. And sometimes, people want to go outside of the box. And I think, they're we'll let you go to a certain extent, but you want to keep pushing it and we'll have to let you go.
It's a weird balance. I mean, I think there's a weird balance in there because we saw that there were problems back with Age of Ultron, because apparently you remember Joss Whedon had some grievances afterwards because there were scenes he wanted, but for time reasons they forced him to leave some stuff he wanted to put in, and they forced him to put in some scenes like Thor's little the Infinity Stone prophecy bath thing he had to do.
Right.
Where it was kind of setting up the Infinity Stones for Infinity War, which is a big lore thing, but he wasn't too interested in doing that, but he was kind of forced into it. So it's this weird push and pull. I think if you give too much control, I guess, when it comes to this big puzzle that you're trying to put together, you might end up with a Ryan Johnson situation where you give a director complete carte blanche over a story, they're going to kind of go off the rails, and it's going to kind of mess up the ripple effects from it. It might be great in the moment, but the ripple effects for the universe at a large that you're trying to build, it has a lot of ramifications.
No, for sure. No, that's and plus when you give directors like that kind of control, because a lot of them are going to be, I want to do what I want to do, and a lot of times it's not what other people want to do. I hate to say that, but a lot of times it's just some of these people think they're thinking 10 steps ahead of everybody else, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But
and
I feel like sometimes that's trying too hard. Like you got to tone it down. Like with Ryan Johnson, like it's at times, even though I thought The Last Jedi was fairly good. I mean, for all of the story flaws, I mean, the action and everything else was fine. I mean, everything looked great, but you gotta rein that in at a certain point. You can't just give them everything they want, and because he totally took that the way he wanted, to the detriment of the movie before, and then it kind of hurt the movie ahead of it. So so that's just, I guess that's just how it goes. But
it's a weird balancing act you have to play. Apparently, when it comes to these giant studio franchises, you're gonna have these big balancing acts basically.
Yeah, but you got to understand, as a director, if you sign on to a franchise movie, you're not going to have full creative control, because you're jumping into a world you didn't even own, you didn't even start. So anyway, that's kind of how it goes. I would say though, out of all this that they've released, the thing I'm most excited about is thinking of all the toy sets that can come out of this, especially when it comes to like all these other series, and thinking of like stuff like Rogue Squadron coming up. I really hope that we have shows like that have these great set pieces that they can really make like play sets and things like that out of. We don't see that enough anymore. It's just the same regurgitated like play sets from either the original trilogy or from a prequel trilogy or something. Like let's create some new iconic like battle sequences and things like that.
The tooling cost on the play sets are too expensive for the price point, and they don't sell them as well as an action figure does.
But I think but see, I think it also depends on the actual material, the source material they're bringing it from, if it's even worth it. If a kid gets hyped, like think of the Battle of Hoth, we were so hyped, like that's just such a great battle that you always think about. I'm going to go home and I'm recreating that, or I'm going to go in my room and play the Battle of Hoth or the Battle of Endor. You're just gonna replay that over and over, and you can buy sets of them and sets and play sets and all. I mean, you can do all these different things focused on these iconic moments in Star Wars history. We need more of that. We just didn't. I don't think we had enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Play sets are just play sets,
or you
get the Kickstarters,
right? Or you get the impression of a play set or like an iconic moment that really in the movie isn't as big or as whatever as the play set, so it's kind of like the Battle of Crate. The Battle of Crate's a good example.
I'd say one advantage in terms of play sets, like Lego has done a pretty good job of like, I think filling in that area probably, in terms of like collecting big things like vehicles and stuff, because I think the added bonus of building it yourself, I think that satisfies a lot of stuff for collectors. And let's give a final little farewell to the little Razor Crest up there, because RIP the Razor Crest as of the last episode of Mando.
I know it. I know it. Now, are you gonna Are you just gonna smash it up now, just to
I sent you that picture. You know, that's the Tython edition. I've got to do it now.
I guess you do. Like they
So
just send you a package, just like the.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put one single stud up there from the little, you know,
The
the little
spear.
Baby Yoda bauble.
Or the spear. It
The
survived.
spear. Yeah. I just have to paint one of the little launching red things. I'll just paint it gray and say it's the spear.
That's why I was saying all the HasLab people are probably crying right now. They spent all that money on that big Razor Crest from Hasbro, and it's no more. Like, here, we can destroy it, put it in the box, burn it,
And get another one.
send it to you.
I'm sure it'll be rebuilt though. I'm sure we'll see it again.
Yeah.
But
I'm the last new episode, but in terms of toys, this whole new season is like giving me like a lot of wanting of Black Series figures. Like, I've said it before, I would love a Black Series Cobb Vanth with the Fett armor. I would definitely love to get Boba Fett from that episode with the black robe and the Fett armor. He looks so awesome.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I'd even get Fennec Shran because she had like a really Zam Wesell look going for her, being paired up with, especially with her being paired with Boba. I was getting big Django Zam vibes from that.
Yeah. I also think they ought to put out like a Black Series. I know that Moff Gideon's coming out. I can't wait. I'll definitely get Gideon. They ought to put out a like a Black Series. Oh Lord, what's the character? Oh God, like a live action version of Ahsoka. Like that would be the Rosario version of the Black Series.
Oh yeah, I would definitely try to get that. But that would
coming, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be sold. It's gonna be the pre-order's gonna get sold out like
that. Yeah.
But I just wonder if they'll do it.
Yeah, they'll do it. That I guarantee that's a given.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, guys, I think that's all the time we have this week. I'm sure we probably went way over, but there's a lot of big news this week we can go over, and we turned it into the Disney hour. So
the Star Wars, the side special, this Christmas side special.
Yeah,
right.
Side special.
Pre-Christmas side.
That's fine. That's no problem with that. But anyways, I think the audience should have a great week. Enjoy The Mandalorian. We've got 2 more episodes left, and have fun. Stay safe. Put your masks on.
Check out Cobra Kai season 3 trailer.
Oh
yes.
Yes.
Yep. Later.
All right.
Bye guys. Put your masks on.
Yeah.